Hey everybody, I am kind of combining both parts of what you can do to complete the Google Earth project. It seems like the recordings are cutting short and not allowing you to completely, well, you can finish them, but the listener can't hear everything on your tour. So I'm going to give you some guidelines on how to do that. Unfortunately, I cannot show you how to download Screencast-o-matic onto your computer because that's what I'm using to show you what I'm using now. So I've given you the tutorial for it. It's really not complicated, I promise. You can go to screencast-o-matic.com and you can try to just use it without having to download it. If you have the proper Java installations, then you can do it that way. But if you don't mind downloading it to your computer, I like using it that way because it gives you some options when you want to save it. So use the tutorial to do that. And what you see right now is how I set out my screen with the Screencast-o-matic to record it for you. So I'm going to show you a little bit. Several of you had some questions about doing the Google Earth project. I've already kind of started one, just playing around and having some fun. Yeah, I know, it's geeky. I have fun with this kind of stuff. But I'm also going to just kind of go through one. So what I did was I started a folder. You see here I have my folder. It's my favorite vacation spots. You want to make sure that everything ends up in that folder. And so, but here, if we were to add another folder, then we would just click folder. We're going to put the title in here. I'm not going to do that because I've already done it. You see I've done a demo already. If you wanted to add an image, you'll see in a minute that I added an image for mine to kind of introduce it. So you can just copy and paste it in here, and I'll show you a little bit more about that in a little bit. And then anything you want to have written, you can do that there. So you'll see here, like I said, that I have already created a folder, and it's called My Favorite Vacation Spots. And so there is the image that I just used to kind of introduce the tour. I've put a couple of spots in here. Now remember, if you are doing the Odyssey, there are many places that you can actually use, and they're pretty clearly defined in the story. But if you choose to use something like Beowulf and Job, then you may have to do a little bit of research to determine where the spot was or where the location was. And in order to be able to get 3 to 5 place marks, then just kind of look around it and see what was around it that might be familiar. But in all these stories that you're reading, I think you'll find that a lot of the places are very familiar to us today. So I kind of cheated and just did something just to demonstrate, but not give away any suggestions for your project. So we'll look first. We're going to click on Beijing. So you'll see here that it takes you to Beijing, China. I work with a ministry that goes to the Olympics, so I had the privilege of going to Beijing for the 2008 Olympics. And so if I were to have a quote that were to explain that, find a quote from, it might be whatever it might say, it would be there. And then I will show you in just a minute how I got the image very easily. And then if I were to define the culture, which is the third part of what you have to do for your project, then I could just put it there. And then another, probably my most favorite place ever to visit is Israel. And so you notice that it's taken us to Israel, and it has the place mark there. And again, I have the well, if I were taking a quote from the book, I have a visual here, and then I have what I could describe as the culture of the time. Again, the culture is something that you might have to research to be able to explain what the culture was like back then. So now I've shown you what I've already done, so let's do one together. So I'm going to go up, Well, first I'm going to decide where else I want to do. Let's just out of curiosity. This is totally unplanned. Let's say the most magical place on earth. We're going to go to Walt Disney World. So let's get rid of this. So it's bringing us all the way back to Orlando. So here it is. You can't really see it, can you? It looks like a bunch of land. I'm sure if we zoomed in, we could see it more. So I'm going to create a place mark. So I'm going to go up and I'm going to click the place mark button. And then here I'm going to put in the title, which is Disney World. Well, you can put whatever you want to put here. And then I'm going to add an image. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go, this is where I found my Beijing image. So give me a second to get out of this. I just went to Google Images, and then I'm going to type in Disney World. So then we'll just take this picture right here. I'm going to go in and I'm going to click View Image. So that gives me a link. Copy the link. And then I'm going to go back in and I'm going to paste the link here. And I'm going to hit OK. So I've got the image there. So if I were going to talk about, have a quote here, save you from having to look at how bad my typing, how many times I have to correct it. I will just put quote here. And then I'm going to come down here. And I'm going to discuss the culture. So I'm going to hit OK. So now you'll see it dropped into the wrong folder. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to go up here and I'm going to put it in this folder. So it puts it there. So now you'll see it pops up. It's a little big picture. You might play around and find some smaller pictures, or the bigger picture is fine. So now I have my 3 place marks. So what I would do at this point is what I've already been doing, and I would start here, and if I double click on there, it takes me back out, and I would set up the Screencast-o-matic to get ready to record. So as you're talking, you would start with this is where you would start your tour. And then each time you double click on your place, ideally if Google Earth is working, it would do a lot of this for you. But just to save you time and energy and frustration, we'll do it this way. Then we'll talk about this one, and then we'll go to the next one, and it'll carry us across the oceans. Over to Beijing, China, and we would talk about that, and then we would come down to Israel. Oops, there we go. And then we would talk about that, and then that would be how you could end your program or end your tour. So thank you for traveling with Paquette Tours for today. Please let me know if you have any questions. I think this is a really cool project, and I think you learn a lot. And I do think that Screencast-o-matic and Google Earth could be something that are very valuable to you later in your career. So if you have any questions, please let me know.